welcome back to my YouTube channel. Hope you're all keeping safe and well. I just thought I would hop on here today and give you kind of like an introductory video on my Instagram. I done like a question box in my story and there's plenty of questions there that will tie us over for the rest of the video. But yeah, just a recap of the last week. My coach was in... Sorry, I just thought I'd get a sip of the tea there. My coach was in Belgium there with one of my teammates, Tony Brown. Tony won very easily against a tough journeyman. Also, one of my teammates from my consultancy agency, Vladimir Beluski, won as well by knockout. Very impressive performance. Great performance from all the lads at Slater Sports Consultancy. Shout out to Connor Slater, my manager and the guys' manager, putting himself out there during COVID. I know it's a hard time for fighters trying to get fights, but it is what it is. So yeah, over the weekend also as well, I shot a promo video with Oscar Bradley at Overboard Media. If some of you don't know who he is and what he's capable of, there's also another video on my YouTube channel that was done by him as well, kind of like a promo video. I love shooting with him. He's very professional. He's phenomenal camera work and drone work. Some absolute great ideas. Very creative. So yeah, I'm just going to go straight into some of the questions that were on my Instagram. So the first question that's up there, what age did you turn professional? So funny enough, I only turned professional this year, so I was 23. I turned professional last year, but I had my first professional fight in October 2020, so I was 23 years of age. Another one there, what gave you the push to get back going again when I quit boxing? To be fair, I never really quit boxing. I just took a little break. I would never say quit. But yeah, but the thing that gave me the push was I just didn't want to let my talent go to waste. It's a gift that God has given me, and I just did not want to see that go to waste. And that really pushed, and also my girlfriend and my family, they all had faith in me for even when I was completely out of shape. They knew that I was going to get back into shape. I know people that didn't really know me thought, oh no, he's finished, it's over, just may as well just go and get a job and start a family. But for me, it was just I needed to get back into the boxing ring. Where am I from? Well, I'm from OMAGH, County Tyrone, but I moved down to Dublin 2 years ago. No, well, this will be my third year in Dublin, yeah. So it's been my third January. Some absolutely silly questions there. How long have I been boxing for? I've been boxing probably since I was about 7. I remember I started at Greencastle Boxing Club when I was around 7, and I absolutely didn't like it. I hated boxing for the first year. I was always sparring with guys that were heavier than me. Back then there was no child protection. You were thrown in there as a 7-year-old against 11-year-olds that were maybe 20 kg heavier than you. You were walking out of there with a bloody nose. And I think that's where it stood for me later on in my career, because it was I'm so tough and even grounded as well after a spar, and you get respect. You get respect for that, you know. Being in the game for so long, like, it is a tough game. Neve, my sister, did your sister beat you up growing up? No, she didn't. have you ever collapsed because of training and exhaustion? Never collapsed. I was sick, but never collapsed. I think that would have to be hard to collapse because of training or exhaustion. Even when I was making weight, I'm down on my weight, like even dry, I've never, like I've got lightheaded and you know, I've probably seen black before, but never collapsed or exhausted. I've said some people probably says, oh, if you seen black you probably friggin' collapsed, but I didn't. Just got lightheaded. But that's what happens when you're down on your weight, when you're very, very dry. You hop out of the sauna, you stand up too quickly, you're gonna get lightheaded. Hobbies or interests outside of boxing. I like Gaelic football. I played Gaelic football all through my teenage life. It was another sport that kept me fit outside of boxing, and it stood for me whenever I was boxing, because you know I was training 4 or 5 times a week with a boxing club, and then I was going out runs by myself, and then I was going and playing football like an hour and a half long sessions, and then maybe on a Saturday if I wasn't fighting, I was playing football matches for my local club, OMAGH. I played for them from under 6s right up till under 21s, and then that's when I stopped. Also played a few games for Tyrone under 15s. So yeah, Gaelic. Played a few soccer games, but never really got into soccer. Love watching it. Sport Liverpool. Another question here. Talk about what your weight loss journey. So yeah, spanning back 2 years ago, 2018. I think I was probably sitting around 16 stone, which is high 90 kilos. Didn't have no motivation to train at all. Always, you know, I was always around boxing. I'm still in the gym. You know, the thing was, I was probably training maybe 3 or 4 times a week. But my lifestyle was completely wrong. My diet was completely wrong. I just wasn't living the life that a boxer or a professional boxer should have been doing. But yeah, I think the start of last year, 2020, that's when I really got my shit together. I was before Christmas, I was still in my 90, I was probably around 94, 95 kilo. I was still losing a little bit of weight, but I just couldn't get under that 90 kilo. And I thought I could never get under that weight. But I just set goals and targets, and when I hit them targets, I always treated myself. I was either going out with my girlfriend to get chicken wings, or even having a Chinese or something at the weekend. Always give myself something to look forward to when I hit a target, and it kept me going from one target to the next. Setting goals is so important. And then when I got under 90 kilo, I started feeling better about myself. I wanted to go train. I wanted to get out. I was setting targets again. I was getting down to 86, get down to 84. And then Christmas came, I got to like 84, 82, 84 around Christmas. Christmas 2019. And it was feeling great. And then obviously kind of downhill then Christmas. Well, I had a few drinks with my family and my friends who I hadn't seen because I was living in Dublin. I had a great time, and then January hit. I was back up to like 90 something kilo, 93 I think, or 93, 94. And like you probably would be like, oh, he's just over exaggerating his weight. I'm not kidding. Weight goes on me so easily. It is absolutely crazy. I think it's not as much now, when you know I'm training so much. I'm eating whatever I want, you know, at the start of camp cleanly, but you know, a lot of calories. Not junk food, but a lot of calories. My weight will maintain around, you know, that 70 to 72. It'll never go any higher than that. Which is so good now because I can rely on my weight, whereas before I could never rely on my weight. So as soon as that January hit, as soon as that January hit, me and my girlfriend started to do Veganuary, and I absolutely loved being vegan. It sharpened up my cooking skills, some tofu, but I knew it kind of wasn't enough. I was still in like that deficit of trying to stay away from like bread and things like that. But it made me aware of how much animal products are actually used in all foods. Like even at the weekend or something, you go and get a packet of sweets. There's like pork in the sweets, and you have to really look in the back of everything. I mean, friggin' everything. It's absolutely crazy. So it made me very conscious of what I was putting into my body. And then at the end of January, I kept it for the full of February, and then my sister was getting married in March, and she came back from Canada, and we went for my brother-in-law's stag party in Galway, and we stayed there for like 2 days. And I first night didn't drink. Second night I got absolutely steaming drunk, and ended up getting a Supermax on the way home and breaking it. And I woke up the next morning and I rolled over and I seen the bedside locker, and there was the Supermax there, and I was like, oh Jesus, I've broken it, frig's sake. So that was like end of February. I was like, alright, sure, I've broken it now, no point going back on it. I wasn't really doing it for kind of like the moral aspect of what vegans do it for, you know, with the whole animals and things like that. I was doing it from a health aspect after watching the documentary. I just thought I'd give it a chance, but I never really went back on that. But it is something that everybody should try, because it makes you self-conscious of what you are putting in your body. And then March came around, sister got married. You bet your bottom dollar that I got a roast dinner at the wedding. Had a great time at the wedding, and then lockdown hit. I think it was my sister's wedding, was like the last wedding before the lockdowns hit, and there was 150 at the wedding, and then the next day there was a wedding and it was cut under 100. So yeah, and then for the next few months you couldn't go outside. Everybody was so scared of what was happening because everybody was so unsure. Ended up just sitting in my house doing absolutely nothing. Zoom calls, quizzes, drinking with my mates, and I was digging deeper into a hole where I was before. I didn't want to get back in that path, so I knew I needed to get out of it, but I just couldn't. And I actually, two of my friends helped me out of it. They said they want to do a bit of training as well, and I just said, right, sure, we'll go and do a bit of training. And one session in my back garden led to everyday sessions in my back garden, till mountain runs, till pads in the mountains, to even strength and conditioning sessions in my mate's backyard, lifting barrels and wheelbarrows and things like that. It was pretty cool. It was good. It was good for me, and it was good for my mental health. And then when everything opened back up in Dublin, I just hit the ground running. As soon as I got back into Dublin, I got down to about 80 kilo, and I knew, right, gonna set that date and get that date in my head. September was the date at the start. Was really pushing for September. Got down to like 74 kilo. and hit the 74 kilo for September, but I couldn't get any fights. And then we got a date for October 10th in Poland, and a good few of my mates, my teammates were fighting on it as well. So it was a fantastic date to debut with all my teammates around me, and we were all in camp together. So I think that's what really gave me a big push, was O'Rourke's gym and the community that it has. And then my first fight was at 68 kilo, which is just above welterweight. Because I knew, like, over the last year was such a massive drop that I hadn't made weight in so long. So as soon as I made the weight, or as soon as I got down the weight to 68 kilo, like my second fight then in December, I weighed in 66 kilo, and my next fight will most likely be under 65 kilo, which is 142 pounds. So you just imagine what 16 stone is. 16 stone's well above 200 pound, and I'm this the first time that I've ever saying it now. It's absolutely crazy, because like over 200 pound down to 140 pounds, which will be my ultimate goal, is absolutely crazy. But yeah, so that was my weight loss journey in a nutshell. But yeah, it was a long time coming to get back into shape, but I never lost faith. I just kept thinking, I'm gonna be a champion someday. I'm gonna be a champion. I'm gonna be a world champion someday. I'm gonna make it to the big times. Gonna have big fights, big future ahead. And that's what kept me going. It's just that positive mindset and never losing sight of what's ahead. Even though I was in a dark place, I never lost sight of what was ahead of me and what was going to happen. So I think that I think what stood for me was my mindset growing up as an amateur boxer and competing at such a high level since I was like 11 years of age when I won my first Irish title. Fought for my country for the first time when I was 13, headed away to Chechnya. We headed away to the World Championships when I was 16 at under 18 level, very year young, in Sofia, Bulgaria. You know, being around the world, and I think just picking up the small things and mentalities of other fighters and other coaches as well that has told me, it stuck to me and brought me out of that dark period in my life. So yeah, that is it in a nutshell. Just last few questions here. Some of your toughest fights. I've had tough fights, like, but see, whenever I get beat or I've gotten beat as an amateur, see, the thing is, I don't get hit much as a fighter. You know, I'm a very elusive fighter, so I can't really say who was my toughest fight. I would say Sean McComb was one of my toughest fights because he was such a massive figure in Irish boxing for so long at 60 kg, and he was a huge lightweight. And then me coming up as, you know, winning the intermediates that year, and then going on to fight Sean McComb. You know, he was a golden boy at 60 kg between him and Davy Oliver Joyce. And growing up watching Sean, then to get to fight him was incredible. So say he was one of my toughest fights. Another one of my toughest fights that I actually won was Dalton Smith in the Commonwealth semi-final. He was the GB golden boy. He's actually doing incredible as a professional fighter. Keeping tabs on him, very, very good. He was probably my toughest fight that I won. I think the mentality of everything, even whenever we were in the village, the Commonwealth village and stuff like that out in Samoa, my coach turned around and said to me, he says, if anybody gets beat by England, you're not coming back to the camp. And I think it was because England was our closest rivals. They kind of set the bar for us. They set the bar for everybody because a lot of their fighters were GB fighters, top GB fighters, came from top gyms and top coaches. So guys, that's it for my Q&A video today. thanks so much for submitting your questions over on my Instagram. I tried so hard to get back to most of them, but I had to sift through some of the ones that were inappropriate. I'll not mention anybody's names, but you know who you are. Yeah, let me know what you think, and don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Thanks again, guys. Speak soon.